Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yoda.
Yada yada yada. Hello. Tongue putter episode. That would be a funny podcast. People with speech impediments. 4 people that went through speech therapy does tongue twisters and they're adults.
My R's and W's.
Where we torture speech therapists with our poor speech. Where we do poor grammar.
Aren't you married to one?
That's what I said. Like, hey, honey, I got a new podcast. You should listen to it. Brown bear, brown boy.
All right.
It's just like, let's make it stop. Let me go. Let me go. Let me go.
All right. Hello, yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Jackie, and we have
Mumbles.
Japheth.
and
Father Yodeler.
and today we're doing a movie review, and as a group, we decided on Dick Tracy because I had never seen it.
Because it came out before you were born.
Yes,
Yeah.
1990.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we decided to do this because it came up in a discussion in a prior episode when we were talking about the Disney decade, and there was a lot of plans for the theme parks based off of this movie.
Yeah, because I said when we went in 92, they had all the vehicles there.
Right.
And these vehicles, fun fact, were like custom made.
Yes. A little smaller, kind of
Yeah.
like the castle smaller, Main Street building smaller. These vehicles were.
Yeah, they got to
a little
maneuver the
smaller.
sets better because of their perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And Japheth, just do a quick summary of Dick Tracy.
Oh, okay. Dick Tracy is a comic book hero, detective.
Started in the 30s.
The Depression era, like around Superman time. But he was the ultimate symbol of cop justice, very, I'm going to fight organized crime because this was during the Prohibition time period. And so mobsters were...
Or right after.
Yeah, you're right. It's you have the speakeasies, the illegal vices that are going on in the city, and he's cleaning up. And administering justice with his fist.
Straight arrow cop. Like there was.
He was the Lone Ranger of that time period. I don't know if there's anybody else that you can pinpoint for the gangster speakeasy era as the hero of the time other than Dick Tracy.
And so he really had an impact with that generation that grew up, that was born in the 30s and 40s,
I remember
pre-World
my
War II.
father always reading that comic when it arrived on Sundays.
Oh, wow.
He would always read the color cartoons for that. I don't know if he read it during the week. I don't know if it was on the weekly, but on Sunday it was always there.
And that was something he went to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Crime fighter. Cop. Good cop.
So this movie...
Already been the rules for getting justice.
This movie's started in 1990.
Yes.
It's done by Touchstone.
Yes.
You cannot find it on Disney Plus.
No.
Nope.
Because it's PG, but it's a misleading PG.
Yes.
Oftentimes you can buy it for your digital copies for $5. It comes up for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it like on Amazon.
And the overall vibe, it's definitely early Batman vibe.
It's comic book revival
It's
for
like-
film.
It's the design of it is like very kooky. Like
They went for the comic book look.
It's like you're coming straight out of the comic book. That's where you get that Batman vibe because Burton went with that theming too, where it was like you're reading out of a comic book.
There was a lot of distant shots that were supposed to imitate like actual like comic book panels.
Like, yeah.
I think it's one of the most successful, particularly their use of color. You
Right.
see it maybe successful in a black and white type form,
Right.
but for color, this is probably the most successful.
You want to know the fun fact with
imitation.
it? They use the colors that were used for comics. So that red is the red that you would see, the green and the yellows.
Oh.
So that's why it's so vibrant, and you get these
Yeah.
obnoxious, like, when he's in a red room.
Yeah.
It is not like, oh, colonial red. No, it is
it's
red,
comic
red.
book red, and you're just like,
Fire
how can you
truck
be in
red,
there?
yeah.
How can you live in that room? Because it's comic book world.
Yes.
Yep. And he runs around in this yellow
Jacket.
coat
I
the whole
like the
time,
yellow
and
coat.
it's nice, but I just keep wondering, how does he keep it so clean? He's
It's iconic. It's
Yes.
great.
Well, it seems like he just runs the police station.
But he's
He's the star police detective. He's the cop that you can always trust. To
he
do
doesn't
the
do
right
the
thing.
politics. He just wants to get in there
He
and
wants-
fight crime with his fist.
He's a very, you could say, like one-dimensional character.
And that's its downfall for me for this.
I would say Dick Tracy is probably the weak point of the movie.
All right, let's give our impressions of it.
Yes.
And before we go into like spoilers and stuff.
like overall impression.
Yeah, overall, what do we think of it? Does it hold up? This movie is 35 years
Oh
old.
no, it does not hold up. It's a skip for me overall.
Oh, wow. To me, it's not, because it has so many actors in there that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
That is just loaded. If you want to have fun, just
Look at the credits.
At the credits
Yes.
and look at how many films these people were in. Even people with bit parts have done like 307 movies. It is crazy. I mean,
you had Kathy Bates in there.
Right.
You see that in there?
Kathy Bates, she is in there for like
she has
2
one of the
seconds
fun,
movie.
but
What is
it's
she
a funny
doing?
line.
Oh, it is. 'Cause
It is a
she's-
funny line.
Yes, it's she's got a.
You got
funny
Catherine
scene.
O'Hare, the mom from Home
Home
Alone.
Alone.
She's in there.
What
She
is
just
she
gives a
doing?
look. She just gives a look to the camera. Like that's all she does.
She's in the crime boss like meeting.
It's very interesting
do anything.
that they're there when they had one of their most significant movies come out that same year, and they're in this movie also. Anyway, just the number of actors bring back so many
crazy.
memories every time I see them, although some are hard to recognize because of the makeup.
But that's what makes it fun.
But
Yes.
it is fun, and the uniqueness of the artwork, and it's also fun for me. I'm a music guy. It's got Danny Elfman at the beginning of his movie career, where he's just fun comic book hero type music, and
You hear it and you go, "This sounds like Batman," because he did the music for Batman.
but it's
Which just
still
came out the
fun.
year prior.
Right.
It's still fun, and it's enjoyable to listen to watch. The story's not all bad, so I'm saying, yeah, I think it holds up. To me, I equate it with one of those movies from further back, like it's a Mad World, or How the West Was Won.
You
where
can't take it. You can't take it serious.
where they're just jammed with, oh, there's that star. Oh, there's that star. Oh,
It is kind of the last of that without it being some stupid romantic comedy.
right.
Like something that just comes out like February 14th, and you're just like, oh, there's 20 movie stars in this.
Right.
No, there's like the amount of movie stars that have Academy Awards in this.
It's
It's
incredible.
insane.
Yes.
I really enjoyed my watching of
You
it.
enjoyed
I
it?
Laughed. I got into it. It's a fun adventure. Mm-hmm. It is. It's just. It's a silly. Like you can't take this as like this is a serious
No.
crime.
No.
It's a comedy. There's funny.
It's
parts.
a comic book story. It's like ripped out of the comics.
I thought it was so fun. It was a fun adventure. I think the best part was Al Pacino. He was the best character.
I think he got It was
What did he
a
do in
nominate.
He was big face.
He was big
the
face.
He
He's a
did.
villain.
He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, I
Yeah.
believe. Interestingly enough, that's the same year that Godfather 3 came out that he was in.
Godfather Kid 3? I thought that was...
No, that's the same year Godfather 3
Really?
came out, and he was not nominated for that. He was nominated for Godfather 1
Godfather
and Godfather
3 was not
2,
very good.
But instead of Godfather 3, they nominate him for
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. That's
A caricature of a mob boss.
That's
It's like,
incredible.
that's ironic.
Great. And it's funny because I watched a YouTuber talk about it. He says, yes, you're going to watch Al Pacino yell the entire time he's on camera. And he does. He's literally just yelling. "Ah, ah, no, no, no."
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy that Kathy Bates is in there. It's the same year she won the Academy Award
Yes.
for Misery.
Yep.
And, she's got such a bit part, but it's a fun part. As soon as she says it, I was like, is that Kathy
That's
Bates?
right,
And
yeah.
it's Kathy Bates.
And she's in one scene where she's trying to transcribe what mumbles the
Is she she's
Yeah,
the
that's the
stenographer?
typer.
that's
She's
her.
the stenographer.
And he says,
Wow.
okay, we've got his testimony. And she goes, what testimony? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, wow, that's Kathy Bates.
I had no idea that was
Yeah,
Kathy
that
Bates.
was
I
her.
thought she was in the crime thing.
No.
No.
That's hilarious. This movie, I think it's a skip, but I see the artistic, uniqueness of this. But the story, every time, I get excited to watch it. I get halfway through and I fall asleep, and then I'm all like, and I wake up and I'm going, how does this movie end? I never ever really make it there all the way through,
Everyone dies.
and it just.
You had told
Yeah.
me that because you watched it before I watched it. And then when I watched it, I said, no, this works
just-
for
no,
me.
I just don't see
It
it.
works for me.
And it depends on if you want to see an artistic movie, because that's what this movie is. It's really an artistic piece, and how they presented it, because you can't take it serious. It's a caricature, but for me, I think for the average person, I think it's just, I think the story just lacks so much.
Yes.
You also got to keep in mind, yes, you guys bring up that, your disagreements with the PG rating, but I think it was designed with children in mind.
Yeah.
So you gotta also keep that in mind. And they talk about how the Dick Tracy comic books are fairly straightforward. They're not very complicated. So it's how far do we?
How much depth do we add to this?
Right.
But it just seemed very shallow, this whole movie, until you get no face, and you're like, what is going on?
I must say, at the end, it did catch me by surprise.
In
The
what
big
way?
reveal.
Oh, the reveal
The
for
big reveal. I was surprised.
All right, so on this, we'll get into this now, but we're split mountain right now.
Yeah. No, there's spoilers.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna spoil the movie, or jog your memory if you haven't seen it in 35 years.
I'll say this, and you probably won't like it. I did not like the actor for Dick Tracy.
Oh, wow,
Warren
Warren
Beatty.
Beatty. Whoa.
No.
As I said, I
This
think
is
he's
his
the weak point.
baby.
It is his baby. But I think he was the weak point of the movie.
I think, honestly, Harrison Ford would have done a better job.
Oh wow, that's such a weird thought.
But think about
Harrison Ford is Dick Tracy.
Have you seen Warren Beatty in anything else? I'm just curious. Is this
Yeah.
I
your new
don't know.
experience with
Maybe.
Warren Beatty?
Because he stopped really acting by
Yeah.
the time you were watching movies. He was doing directing.
it.
I mean, when he did this film, it was 50.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's going to be on the older end.
Okay.
Because he was on the, what is it, This Side of Heaven or
Heaven Can Wait.
Heaven Can Wait. Yeah.
I was just kind of I get that he was committed to his job, right? I get that. But he's got his girl,
Yeah.
and he kind of plays her along, and then she gets when she sees him kiss the other woman, she gets offended and stuff. And I don't know, they're have this love story, and I was there was no love story. There was nothing, no connection. I felt I thought they were just friends. I thought it was a sidekick kind of thing. And then towards when she got offended by the kiss, that's when I was oh, there's a love interest. I didn't pick that up.
Did you like the ring at the end?
It was okay. It was oh, I've got a job to do. I gotta bust a bad guy. Oh, here's a ring. Bye.
Yeah, they kind of lined it up. He was trying to.
I
give it-
liked that.
As brave as he is, he couldn't pop the question.
Should have asked if he can move in.
Eye
with his
roll.
I mean, that
girlfriend.
wasn't a huge deal to me, but I kind of wish there was a little more writing into that storyline. Just a little.
Sure.
I don't need a heavy, like, love story, but I just need a little more emotion on both parts.
Okay, how did you like the way she played it?
I didn't like her either.
You didn't like
wow.
you didn't like her?
No.
Oh, I thought she was great.
I thought all three of them. If you put the kid
didn't
in
like-
there,
I didn't like the kid.
the kid, yeah, the whole
The whole time I was thinking
kid.
Hook, and his accent just was throwing me
oh
off.
wow, you guys like Hook too much. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That must be it.
Hook is my number one movie.
When are we eating? When are we eating?
Yeah.
That was a great.
That was
scene.
funny,
so
though.
That was his little line, yeah.
I would actually put this ahead of Hook as
Oh.
far as his
Oh,
acting.
boo.
Get outta here.
Oh,
And
Get
as
off
far
the
as-
mountain.
His
No.
acting.
No.
As far as his acting.
no,
The
acting
boy-
is better than
Oh.
Hook.
Oh wow.
There's
okay.
more emotion in Hook.
I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed those three. I thought it was comfortable and enjoyable, and
I thought they could have done better.
I honestly like seeing their dynamic. The three. You actually got to see more dimension to Dick Tracy
yes,
than when he was on the job. When he was on the job, he's like, I'm on the
Yes,
job.
Yes.
I
Da, da, da,
agree
da.
with
But then,
that.
like, when he's with the three, like, he has a vulnerable side to him.
Yes.
Where, he, like, this big, confident, who's not afraid of staring down Bob Moss's. Bob Moss's?
Bob Mosses.
Bob Moss's.
Boss Nass? Bob Ross's?
Mob.
We's are going to watch Dick Tracy.
Right? We all had one in this recording session. But, like, he's afraid to go talk to his girlfriend about, like, moving in with her. You know, like, you got to see that, like, you know, there's a little bit more something to it. But I would agree with you, Jackie, in the sense that he was the weak link in this movie.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. I never. Again,
I thought it was the writing more
Warren
than
Beatty
him.
was
It
such.
probably was more the writing than his acting.
Again, when I grew up, Warren Beatty was like the guy,
Yeah.
and so
He was Mr. Hollywood.
He didn't have to do a lot of acting he just had to appear on the screen, and everybody, oh, that's that guy, It was almost like a John Wayne type
Yeah.
appearance.
He's part of that new era, like post, like movie studio kind of movie star.
And
Yeah.
so just his presence. But again, you guys did not grow up with him,
Yep.
so you didn't have necessarily that feeling.
That's how I got into that.
that mystique.
I got into that YouTube of like, who is Warren Beatty, and like I really didn't have that experience. So
Yeah. So those are some lows. Do you have any other lows, Chafee?
Madonna's character, Breathless
Oh.
Mahone, it was just kind of like, boy, did she really turn on the sexy, like she's on the screen and like
Yeah.
Madonna's like, I'm gonna take this PG film and turn this into like the
Yes.
she turned on the heat
She did.
Yes.
for that and just like, I'm gonna try and corrupt Dick Tracy as quickly as possible, like with my
I just
with my
remember
looks.
hearing that she almost walked off of the job because she couldn't learn how to sing more music theater style as opposed to pop style,
Right.
and that was a
she had to
big
get
hurdle
coached for
her.
it. She had to get coached for it. Yeah, watch that.
I mean, and I get it was probably like the time of its era, but there was one scene that just rubbed me the wrong way. It was like when she was like learning the new dance and singing like all night long. And like the mobster was all like, "Oh, like
I love that scene. I love that scene. I thought it was fun.
I found it inappropriate."
Well, yeah, of course.
He's a mobster, so
That's
yeah.
why Peter likes it. He's like, we need to go back to the old
need to go back.
times.
Grab women by the butts and be like, grab your butt. Right there. Shake it. It was funny. It was a funny scene.
It made me uncomfortable.
I bet you didn't like it because Dick Van Dyke dies in this.
Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there that popped in. I was like, oh,
He was in the movie.
He
Yeah.
was the
The-
district attorney.
Yeah. He's the one that gets murdered by...
Wow, you didn't even recognize Dick Van Dyke. Wow.
it was hard for me to watch this movie.
Wow. Okay.
It's hard for me to recognize actors. I don't really know actors by name.
Dick Van Dyke, you don't know.
I know Dick Van Dyke,
He's
Mary
in your
Poppins
Muppets.
over there.
but I didn't notice him. Like, he didn't stick out.
Wow. Okay. All
Plays an
right.
And it
important
could have
role,
been a
too.
part I
Be
was
the
stepped
bird.
away.
He had been. It wasn't a huge part. There's like two,
No,
three
It
scenes
could have been a
with him
part
in it.
I was with my son. So
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
all right.
I get that. Watching
not
someone with
necessarily
kids
full
is
attention.
hard.
Yes, not necessarily full attention. And to me, it was great to see him because he had not really been on screen much for the last decade.
Right.
He was starting to do
In
those
the
little cameos.
'80s, he wasn't. You didn't.
Like, I mean,
see
he's
him.
almost 100 right now, so it's 30. He was 70 years old. I mean, I'm sorry, Dick Van Dyke lost his sex appeal. Probably 10 years prior.
I think he got a good TV series in the '90s, but during the '80s, he was.
he was in a TV show in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was like a crime show.
Yep. He was a
What was that?
doctor.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It was like with like the medicine woman, like and Murder She Wrote kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
That's
son
right.
was in it. Yeah.
I forgot about that. That
Yep.
was his last hurrah TV show.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the makeup. I loved
It was very creative, very well
so
done.
fun. Like, they were true to how the characters looked in the comic strip.
I
'Cause
mean,
if you
they-
look what the mobsters look like in the comic strips, it was pretty spot on.
I
Yeah.
was confused of like why some people
Babyface.
had like weird things on their face and other people were just normal.
The bad guys. So your ugliness is manifested through your aesthetic.
Okay,
So like it wasn't just the mobsters. Like if you look at the guy who
but
was
there were some cops that had some ugly.
Well,
bits.
they were
some were
probably
they
could
were
be corrupt.
They were hidden or hidden as cops, but they were actually working for the gangsters.
Because like it wasn't just the mobsters. Because there was the guy and the who was in charge of the little boy.
Right.
The when they were in that shanty.
Oh yeah,
He was an ugly, ugly man, and I'm going, oh, this is like you turn physically ugly for how you act, and if you're a bad guy, you'll come off that way.
I love the shed going back and forth during
As he
that
punches?
fight scene.
Yeah,
That was
that
fun.
Oh, that was cute. I did enjoy that part. I thought that was
Jackie
really
likes
fun.
good old violence.
No, I enjoyed the animation and the art of it.
It's that Indiana Jones physical
Yes.
punching kind
I
of
did
aspect.
enjoy the artwork of like in the intro.
Yes,
That
the
were
scenes and
yes.
everything.
I enjoyed the artwork at the beginning and the scene, so I think like the set was good.
How could you not think it's a ripoff of Batman? Like when I was watching, I kept thinking, did they just hire the Batman movie people? I'm like, hey, that was good. Come do Dick Tracy. Like you can't help but think, is like, are these like worlds connected?
Well, they both came from comic books. so-
Yeah.
And this funny thing is, like, I think it was like a month or two ago, I wanted to watch all the old Batmans again, and I started with the
Like
first.
the TV show.
No, the
Wham, pow. Movies. Okay.
Yeah.
Late 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Old.
It was 89 when it came out.
Yep.
You should watch,
I started.
Nichols Batman.
I started watching. I started watching the movie, and I couldn't finish it. It was hard to get through.
The one with Jack Nicholson,
the Joker.
the Joker. That
Yeah.
one's good.
That one's much better than the following one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The following one is that one's
The
super
Penguin?
penguin and
Penguin.
cat lady.
Yeah.
That's
much
just-
darker.
So dark.
It was just hard for me. So I think it's just a genre that maybe is just not for me.
It might not be for you at this time of your life.
Like that. I think he's gonna convert you. No. So like, watch
You would
this
love
one.
this.
You're gonna love it. You're 43 now. It hits you.
No, not saying that.
I
at
mean,
all.
there were parts that were like fun, and the artwork I enjoyed, and there was fun little scenes. But the overall, like,
I think that one's dated a bit. The original Batman.
Original Batman. Are you talking about Batman? Or are you talking about Dick Tracy right now?
but Dick Tracy now.
Dick
Okay.
Tracy now. Yeah, I just kept thinking it was like Batman, and it kept throwing me off. The music,
The music was.
I was like, this is Batman.
yeah. The music was a big.
I felt like he was overshadowed, and it just wasn't unique enough. Going, this is Dick Tracy music.
It may not have been unique enough, but it was still fun.
It was. It was a
And
fun.
it is fun
adventure.
but it took me out of it right away. Going, I'm watching Batman. No, Dick Tracy. Okay, and then the scenery. I was like, this feels. I'm like, I kept thinking it's Batman to the point where I'm going through the credits of both movies to see, is this done by the same people? You know, like,
And I
could
know-
this?
I think it was
how much is
probably-
the overlap on production? Where I'm like, I like that. I'm going to steal that. No, it's just so close.
Because Warren Beatty pretty well brought in his people
He
to
did.
do it. They were, you know,
Yeah.
Was he the director?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He directed some Academy
So-
Award-winning films and
So-
And
very
I think
successful.
I think I have a problem with directors that are in their movies as a lead.
I don't know. Clint Eastwood did it all right. Recent, like I say recent, it was like 20 years ago.
I don't know if I've seen those movies. So
It's one of those things. Like, so if you know the history of it, like, he had been wanting to make. Warren Beatty wanted to make this movie like all the way to the early '80s. Like that's how long like he's been wanting
Just
to
gonna
do
get
it. But none of the studios really wanted to go for it until eventually he bought the rights.
He bought the rights, and then Batman came out, and suddenly everybody said, superheroes.
Let's do it.
Superheroes.
And Touchstone was
Right.
like, all right.
And yeah, Disney's like, we'll bite. We need a good franchise.
Yeah, they were still in that early phase.
They
right
got
there.
like 8 or 9 Academy Award nominations off that film. And
of
for
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
And the thing is, like, it wasn't like you watch it and you're like, okay, it's okay. I mean, production wise, or how much it pulled in, it's in the top 10 for that year.
Yeah, it was number
Yeah,
9.
probably for that time.
Touchstone's number 1 for the year.
Homo-
Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty, is that what it? Pretty
Yeah,
Woman.
Pretty
yeah.
Woman.
Yeah, that was the number 1 for Touchstone.
Home
for that year.
Alone was the number 1 movie of the year.
Home Alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin actually was offered the position for the kid, but he's like, nah, I got this other film, and
But-
that nailed it. Like that,
Oh, is that the?
it was Home Alone. He was
Oh,
offered the
yeah.
kid position
Oh,
for
okay.
this film, and they're like, he's like, nah, I got this other film.
And it beat out Back to the Future 3.
Yeah,
Back to the Future 3 was like number
Really?
11 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
And so
It did well.
it did
all right, but
very
it just
well.
wasn't good enough. It didn't
I don't
meet
think it's
its
a long
expectations.
lasting.
They wanted
Well,
to do franchise.
I'll
with
say
it.
this: you don't get very far when you kill everyone.
Yes. all
All the mobsters, they all died. Every single one of them.
Yep.
Even Madonna, like they all died.
Hey, Mumbles lived.
Mumble.
Mumbles.
I would say that was probably one of the best scenes.
fun.
Every
fun.
Was-
every scene he's in
The
there.
second one was really good because they're all like, "We've got your testimony on tape," and he knows. He's like, "You got nothing," and then they modify it, and he goes, "It was Big Boss." Like he talks
Big Face
normal.
did it.
It was Big Face.
Big Face did it.
Big Face.
How
did
he
it.
repeated it over and over.
Well, then like he cracks, and then he stops mumbling.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, all right.
All right, yeah, I'll tell you.
It's all a
I
gimmick.
didn't
I
get
thought it
that
was
part.
great.
I really didn't. I was
It
confused.
threw you off?
It threw me off. So
Oh, Dustin Hoffman
was like
killed
a-
that.
Oh yeah, you killed.
it was like a machine that.
he
was recording.
It was a recording, and he just slowed the recording down to where you could understand
drink
what
the
he was
water.
saying.
Oh, that was hilarious how he was torturing him in that interview. I swear, I think they could have called the movie Mumbles with Dick Tracy, and I probably would have given it a higher rating because I loved Mumbles more than anybody else in that movie.
Wow. No, I just
Dustin
thought
Hoffman
there was some great.
kills it.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Well,
great.
Kills
was
it
great.
in that role.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a courteous because they had just done a film prior to that 80s.
Oh, they're good friends.
Yeah.
So they
Oh man, Mumbles was my favorite part. Every time it came on, like, and I watched it, and I'm like, man, I just want to watch the next scene with Mumbles.
Yep.
And it just, didn't care for Mumbles.
No, Mumbles was fine.
We as kids, we used that reference all the time. When
Yeah.
somebody like, or you drink water, and we're like, you would be like, no, like you would talk like Mumbles as some pop culture reference
I
for.
think this is
Millie.
just a boy movie.
Yeah,
it
there's
is.
not-
Yeah,
there's-
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
yeah.
not a lot of girl
I just.
interest for this.
Because you got Tess, who's the girl that has to stay at home with the kid, or you got over sexualized, breathless
Yeah.
Madonna, so many like in betweens, or Kathy Bates going, huh? Yeah, I can see how
And then
this
you
is
have
hard
Dick
to relate
Tracy,
to.
where he's just very like, brr.
Yeah, he's old school.
Yeah, very old school. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind if they did a remake of Dick Tracy.
Good luck. That's his baby.
I know. We probably have to wait till he's dead.
I don't know if we want a 90-year-old Dick Tracy.
He'll
that
do
would
it.
be different.
He did it recently.
So as we previously discussed, Warren Beatty bought the movie rights to it, and so but you can only hold on to the movie rights for so long unless you make something. So he came out with little things so that he can hold on to these movie rights.
It's in his filmography too.
Yeah.
To hold it like with weight.
And like the Dick Tracy Returns was hilarious because like there's just this random.
It's
part
an
where
interview with the guy
Leonard
from
Maltin.
Yeah, he's like the guy you see in all the Disney
Yep.
like history. Like
He's
he's Mr. Hollywood like documentary guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like the Ken Burns. He's always there or something
Yep.
like that.
And like he's interviewing Dick Tracy, not
Not
Warren Beatty.
but-
not
yeah.
yeah.
Because if he interviewed Warren Beatty, it wouldn't count as
Correct. So
as
it had to be
keeping
Dick
the-
Tracy.
So
So,
it shows up in his yellow jacket
yeah.
and hat.
And everything, and like there's this whole interaction where it's all like, "You look good for being 100 and whatever," and he goes, "Pomegranates."
He says it 3 times, and
Yeah.
you're just like, "Oh, you're that crazy uncle that just is obsessed about
He
this
was
one
like,
thing."
blueberries.
Bonds, get into bonds, junk bonds. Be more specific. You're just like, okay, thanks, bro. And he's like, no. I'm telling you, pomegranates.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I watching here?
That's why I sent it to you guys because I was like, "You guys have to see this. This is hilarious."
It was weird.
It was weird, and I was just like, do I dare continue going on?
Yeah, because he did another one after that. That one I didn't really watch.
Where he's like apologizing for how he acted. I was like, too much pomegranates. And then at the end of that one, he's like at lunch at like country club with Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy as Warren Beatty in
Yeah.
a split screen, and they're just like old men eating at a table, like nothing. It was just
and that's what he did, so yeah, he could keep the movie rights. He came out with those things, and so we probably won't get another Dick Tracy until probably Warren Beatty dies.
He's holding on to that one,
He
and
will
he's
not
like
let that go.
88.
It's probably in his will, too, of like,
Well, even still, like somebody has to buy it.
Yeah, somebody has to produce something, and it's not going to be harder when he's gone. Fill me
Yeah.
in the
I doubt his
casket.
kids are like, "We gotta hold on to the Dick Tracy."
Dick
rights."
Tracy dies.
Yeah.
Fill me in the casket.
Yeah,
and the person that he got the rights from, they like the ideas that he was presenting
Right.
and preserving the likeness to the comic books.
I thought he did a great job.
I
really
think he did a good job for his artistic style. I think his story, it just goes flat in the beginning where he keeps winning and then it stops, and like he's losing, he's winning, and then he's just in trouble. It was just like something I saw from a 60s TV show, like storyline. It could have been put in with Gilligan or Hogan's Hero.
Maybe that's why it feels like home to me.
And it could feel that way, and that's the era he comes from. And I think
Right.
it was just like, oh, we've kind of moved on from this. For me, it's like Dick Tracy was great first time, like Betty Boop was, but Betty Boop isn't gonna sell movies now,
Sure.
and I don't think Dick Tracy's gonna sell movies
Probably not.
anymore. And it's one of those things like with Indiana Jones. Like I don't know if Indiana Jones can really sell anything again in the future. Like after Harrison Ford's moved on, if they tried, I don't think they could really sell them because that style of character and movie making is just not gonna sell.
I don't know. I think like a Dick Tracy Disney Plus series could be interesting.
Okay, who
Yeah.
do you think
Like
would be
a
really
crime
good?
show, like
Do you think that
type
type
of
of
style?
masculine character is really like people want to watch that?
if they made it more kind of like crime show mobster kind of style, I think that could be good. People love crime shows.
Do you think who would be a good?
I'm
putting you on the spot here, but-
I don't know actors.
Yeah,
So,
Like,
but-
how would you change Warren Beatty's character? Because, like, even Warren Beatty talks about the different Dick Tracys
he
and
does.
goes like, "Oh, this one did it best," and like
Yeah.
they show scenes of them fighting, and it's gritty.
I mean, I definitely like. I just got like Indiana Jones vibes,
Yeah,
where it's just like he's got like the look that every girl is going for.
It's all those lettuce that got mutilated in those punches.
is that what they did?
Yeah, they use lettuce.
They use lettuce when they make the sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh
the
wow, I
punching.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I said, this is just like Indiana Jones.
It had that over exaggerated
All
that when that gun fires, it's loud and
I think like maybe just more reaction to things. I felt like in the movie Dick Tracy, he was just so monotone and just wouldn't react a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
And I would have
His
enjoyed.
expressions were very blank. Like there
he's
was
very
Yes.
he's
like,
a hard man.
like there was this
Yeah.
whole
Stony.
scene where like they break into the club, you know, like we've got a warrant, and you know Madonna's telling Dick Tracy to go this way, and he has this like confused look. He's like,
Do I trust you?
"Which way do I go? I don't know where to go. Should I follow the cops or should I go where she's telling me?" Like he has this really
Yeah.
awkward presence about him. He doesn't. I think he.
He was so confusing around her.
Yes.
And I think he like was trying to emphasize how she threw him off of being Dick Tracy and how she was bad for him.
Right.
And so he was trying to conveying that in that moment, like, I'm confused.
It comes.
It was like Frankenstein
Yeah.
as Dick Tracy.
It was a little stiff. It was very stiff.
Yeah. So I just think someone just with a little more emotion.
So you think it could happen in modern day?
I
having
think
a Dick
so.
Tracy?
I
Totally.
think it
Wow.
Totally.
I
So
It
you
totally
think
can.
so?
Absolutely.
Do you think there's a market for it? You know,
I don't know.
because you like
Are
this
you
style.
talking about being done in the same time period, or are you talking about doing a modern day Dick Tracy?
I wouldn't mind having it like an old time frame, like
Okay.
with the
So
mob.
back
but
in the 30s.
Okay, as long
Yeah.
as you do that, that's fine. If you modernize it,
No,
I don't think
no, no,
it's
no.
Dick Tracy.
No,
it
it's
wouldn't
not.
be Dick Tracy.
You just see him in civil court, like, you punched me. I'm suing you.
I mean, they did it with
You didn't read my
Sherlock
Miranda
Holmes
rights.
and
How did you
Sherlock
get
Holmes.
a gun? You were in jail.
Like it's gotta have like the Tommy guns and
Yeah.
like that. It's gotta have that flair. But I think they could do like Great Gatsby, but Dick Tracy level.
I'm just thinking of like you have like Dick Tracy and we're in the jail and you have like the Joker, like Heath Ledger's, and I'm just seeing these two characters interact going, this is so weird having like a modern day kind of Dick Tracy, like they were like not gonna work, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would watch it. I think it was good for its time. It served its purpose, but that type of America and mentality is just not there. I don't know.
It would be difficult to get it through pre-production, I think.
You
Will
would
it
have
happen?
to get the right team
Yes.
that believes
has the
that believes
passion.
in it.
Yeah.
Because because like with your point of view, like you're looking at it from a perspective of like how they make movies now.
Yeah.
And the type of people that are making the movies now. If you get some the people that kind of looked at like
You're like
the-
James Gunn and the Snyder. What was the guy who did the previous Batman?
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. You're like, you get these like interesting styles. It's
Right.
like that's not gonna work. I mean, the closest you got to it was what Watchmen or something like
Yeah.
that. You know, you're gonna get that kind of comic book style. You know,
And so I could it be done? I think it can, but it's got to have a team that believes in the essence of what it is, what it was about, because it was about like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, you know, like
fighting crime from within.
right.
You know,
You
fighting
know,
vice.
Because like right now, like all the stories are like, oh, it's gray. There's
I
there's
mean,
no
Yeah.
it
this and
probably
that.
won't happen for like another 10, 20 years.
Hollywood's
You think it has?
Hollywood's got to change. Hollywood's got to change.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like, if they couldn't make it today.
But they dictate the audience by feeding them what they do, because we get this. We're rooting for these normal people doing bad things, like Better Call Saul,
Yep.
Breaking Bad, you
Yep.
know, The Sopranos. These are bad people,
Yep.
but yet we're rooting for them because there's even like worse people out there.
Well, I
You
think
know.
that's what Gunn said about doing Superman. I want to do something where the good people are actually good.
Right.
Or not where they're like, oh, they're flawed,
Right.
you know, and you're just like, and that's what Dick Tracy is like. He's supposed to be true, but then you get Madonna's character and where they kiss, and I'm all like, it just threw me off because I was like,
to
Dick
me,
Tracy
it was
is just very
more
straight.
Madonna kissing him than him kissing her. It's the way it looked. I mean, obviously he didn't break
Take-
away quick
I'm
enough.
about to say, it's
but-
like he's got free will.
Yeah.
He can be like, no. He can Mr. Bean him, or you know, like just stick the hand in the
I mean,
face.
this is Dick Tracy. He fights mobsters.
Yeah, he can punch faces. He can't push away from a blonde. You know, like yeah. That's the part. I really had a hard time with those two characters
Yeah.
and their dynamic.
I didn't like Madonna.
Come
They were
on.
dating at the
Did-
time.
did
She
you
only got
know- Really?
$35,000 for that role.
Oh.
Come on, you didn't like when Madonna sounded like Princess Leia?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not even
The
making.
smoker.
No, I'm not even making that joke. I
Oh.
know it sounds like I'm making that joke. She sounds like Princess Leia from Return of the Jedi when she's.
Oh, the sultry voice.
Yes. It's the same voice. I go, oh, it's Princess Leia. And then I started laughing because I started thinking of the smoker. And I'm like, that's not what I mean, but yeah. But it's that same exact, like,
But yeah,
Why
at
do you
the,
like
at,
Tracy?
at the end when they like, I thought for some reason I had it in my mind that the no face guy
Blank, right?
Blank was the original like mobster that he took the club from.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
what I was
okay.
thinking the
That
whole
wouldn't
time.
have been a bad twist.
And then when they revealed it and it was her, and I was like, oh, that's rare. A movie threw me for a loop. So
Yeah, it's-
well done for that.
Yes.
It is a kind of a you don't really see it happening, and that's that kind of like.
and then when you go back and watch it, you can see it like, oh, look at
They were
that.
playing
She
it.
was manipulating things.
Yeah, I did think I was like, oh, should I go back and watch it again? And I was like, nah, I'm good.
nah, okay, I'm all right.
I will say this: the ending had my favorite part that made me laugh so hard was, you know, you got the big boss. He's all trying to figure out his plan because he's got Tracy's girlfriend and he's in the bridge area and he's just trying to figure things out. He goes, "Wait, something's coming to me. Something's coming to me," and it's literally him thinking for like a minute. And he goes, "It's not." And then the scene ends,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, that was so funny. It was like they literally spent a minute of him going, "It's coming.
He's thinking out
It's
loud.
coming.
Yep.
It's coming. It's coming. It's not coming." And then it cuts to Dick Tracy.
And that's how
it
you
was
get
like-
nominated for an Academy Award, you know?
You guys want a fun fact?
Yes, let's hear it.
Tim Burton was offered the chance to direct the movie, but declined it because he was already in production with Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, which also came out that year. Did not do as well.
It was just shocking. I
Dick
don't know.
Tracy did better than
Yeah.
I think I
Scissorhands.
would enjoy. I think I enjoy Edward Scissorhands.
I know. It did really well compared to what it's up against. There's a lot of movies it was up against.
According to his autobiography, comedian Gilbert Gottfried, who is
Iago.
Iago, he was offered the role for Mumbles, but it was given to Dustin Hoffman. It was kind of like done as a favor for Warren Beatty because he said he's a friend, and they had done a film that did like they were like comedians or it was like the Reds or something like that.
I can't remember which one they
But,
were
yeah, it was
in.
one of
I
his
can only
films that
remember
he-
the bad one that they were in together, which was Ishtar, which is famously
right.
known as a super dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the movie he was in.
that
with
was the
him.
movie that like set him back.
This is the highest grossing film of Warren Beatty's career.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I really love him in Heaven Can Wait.
Gene Hackman turned him down the role of Lips because he couldn't bear being directed by Warren Beatty again
Oh,
because of his experience with Reds. Movie I think he won for that movie.
yeah, he won the Academy Award for that.
That was in 81. Trying to think. I don't think there was anything else Yeah, just you mentioned before, Warren Beatty actually considered appearing in and even directing Misery, but chose to do this film. That was the film with Kathy Bates and
Right.
and James Caan. I think he was in the film too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was the one that got blown up.
James Caan.
Con?
He was an elf. He was the dad.
Yes.
Yes.
That's for those who don't know, because I didn't know until I looked at his picture just now.
Also the Godfather movies and...
Danny Elfman was hired to compose the film score because Warren Beatty was impressed with the work of Batman. So,
Rightfully so. Yeah, I really looked forward to that. I was really hoping they were going to do a double album for it. They only did a single, but they also released
They did more.
background music,
Right.
and then Madonna's music came out separately. So there were like 3 discs, actually. It's kind of expensive, but
there was a 2-hour and 15-minute version of this film that existed, but in a 2002 interview with Warren Beatty, he said Walt Disney cut it down, Walt Disney Company forced it to 1 hour 45 minutes. And originally this was supposed to be a Walt Disney production or released film, but too racy, so they turned it to Touchstone. The dark side of Disney.
was it released as the 2-hour version, or was
No.
it really?
No, it was an
Okay.
hour. They shortened it down. Thank
Okay.
goodness. Ooh. Yeah, those are only ones that popped up that I thought was. Yeah, Madonna only got 35,000. But again, Warren Beatty was dating her, and then Warren Beatty proposed to her during this time, and she said, no. And he's like, nope, never mind. Because he was kind of the Hollywood's Bachelor. That's what he was known for. He couldn't get, tied down, and then he ended up
Like
getting married.
George Clooney. Sort
Yeah, he was kind of the George, but he got married and he had kids, later in life. She is another
Annette
actress.
Bening, I think.
Yes. Yeah, she's I'm always a fan of hers. Just not a fan enough to remember her name.
of. All right. Should we have a Mickey Bars?
Yeah, Mickey Bars. I give it a 2.
I give it a 2.5.
I give it a 3 or a 3.2. Like, I thought it was enjoyable. It was fun. Like, I think it's worth a watch.
4 for me because of the uniqueness of the film,
Execution.
the execution.
Yeah.
I think it was deserving of all the Academy Award nominations it got. I don't know about Al Pacino, but okay.
I thought it was
It got annoying for me with his character.
But overall, fantastic. And again, that cast is unbeatable for the 1990 time frame
Right.
of getting so many known actors together
to play background
to
characters.
play background characters. There are just some amazing characters. Ian Wolfe has been in, as I said, 307 films dating back to Clark Gable on Mutiny on the Bounty in the 30s up till this movie was his last movie. He was the forger at the end. Not a very big part, but he's so recognizable because he's been in 307
So he's that old school
productions.
Hollywood that Warren Beatty was
You
still
don't
in
know
relation
his
to.
name, but when you see him, you go, "Oh yeah, I've seen him." And this film is
He's
just
that guy.
filmed with those people, just
Yes.
filmed with faces, and you go, "Oh, I know him." Oh,
It is fun for that aspect.
that's-
The Easter egg hunting with famous Hollywood
Susan
people.
and I were looking at it, and we were going back and forth about, "Oh, who is that? Oh, was that so and so?" And it's just fun for that reason to get those characters from those actors from that time period. So it's enjoyable for that, and I didn't find any horrible faults in the storyline. I thought it kept it moving enough to keep it as an entertaining experience. So I give it 4 stars.
That was a good review. I didn't change my review. It's still, it may have melted a little bit, but it's still 2.5 for me.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. Have you seen the movie Dick Tracy? And if you have, how do you like the movie? And let us know in our social medias. You can also email us at matterhornyodlers@gmail.com. But with that being said, have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember before your bobsled comes to a complete stop to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.